Welcome in, everybody. It's the Real Spiel live show with your host, Roman Kelly, my co-host, Trevor Kelsey. Pre-game show, Trevor. It's the big game today, but we haven't been on in a while, so we're going to be doing more than just our pre-game talk. Going to be kind of a shortened episode. We're going to have a UofL session and then Super Bowl session because, obviously, yours truly over here is a die-hard Eagles fan. I'm sure he's got something on right now. Yeah. He's ready for the game. He said he's been nervous all day before we got into the show, he told me. He thinks Saquon's going off 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. I agree. I don't think that's going to be enough, though. We're going to have to see. We're going to get into that later on into the show. At first, we're going to talk some UofL Cardinals basketball. We haven't talked in a little over a week, I believe, and we've got 2 games under our belt we have to discuss. Trevor?
I guess the first thing you talk about, and we thought we'd bring this up as the initial topic when we talk about UofL basketball, but let's talk about groins. Let's talk about manhood now for a minute here, and not the challenging of one's marbles in a face off of an opponent, but that of Chucky Hepburn's groin, obviously in the Boston College game.
Never have I been more worried about another man's groin ever.
I've questioned my life, but I've been spending the last 72 hours just thinking about this man's junk. Okay, I'm wondering. I'm questioning my life choices at this point. I've been doing that since I was about 14 now. No, back to what I was going to say though. On the court, yeah. I mean, it's since we talked, Louisville lost, Georgia Tech. In a nutshell, Louisville struggled defensively in that game. More importantly, I thought Georgia Tech did the best thing they did. I thought Stoudemire, I wouldn't say outcoached PK, but I thought he did a good job of taking Louisville out of what they wanted to do. And the main thing of that was Louisville getting second chance points. The offense staggered. They got one and done opportunities. They didn't play horribly defensively, but they were in a situation where Georgia Tech was able to hit some really tough shots down the stretch and hit the shots they needed. We'll miss some key free throws. Georgia Tech missed just as many, so it's moot in that category. And then Louisville rebounded well against Boston College, I thought. In the past what was kind of a nonsense Boston College game because even with their big man out, it was really a tough game for them to win, regardless whether he played or not. And then last night, Miami was kind of you would say the good cure for Louisville. I thought Louisville played okay. I mean, without Chucky Hepburn, obviously without James Scott. Roos, I thought, played well for the first. I thought Roos really struggled defensively in the Georgia Tech game. He struggled really defensively in the Boston College game too, despite the win. He had a rough road trip to me, and he had some problems in this game as well. He was needed more than I think they wanted to get him from, but offensively he played. He brought the energy that he does on offense, and that's what we hope to get from him. Mm-hmm. Good to get Waterman back. I think he'd have been a big part of that Georgia Tech. If we really could have used him in that game. Yeah. It is what it is. And now we look forward to going on the road again now with
NC State.
I think Chucky Hepburn is going to be probably needed for this game. This is especially offensive. It's crazy to say when I say we need Chucky Hepburn for a game, but I think more importantly for offense as much as defense, because I mean this is a Georgia NC State team that's not very good offensively. I mean, Louisville, even without Hepburn, should not struggle against this team defensively. They're not very good at scoring with the ball and doing anything much with the ball. I think they're averaging like 65 points a game, but they are a decent defensive team, and I don't think they've given up more than 80 points a game this year. And this is a Louisville team that scored over 80 points in 6 of the last 8 games. So it's going to be a nice little contrast on the road. I don't know if apparently Huntley Hatfield will play. I don't think Mike James is going to play, but whether they do or not, we'll count it in our revenge tour record for the year. And we were wrong last time we talked. I was head up my ass and bragging that Louisville was going to go undefeated in the rest of the way in the ACC, but
you were.
Sometimes you slip and you mess up and you make a boo-boo.
Trevor, I want to discuss the way. So when we came out against Miami, and really take me back to the last 15 minutes in the second half of Boston College.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like the first half against Boston College, and I didn't like the first 5 minutes of the second half. And it feels weird to say I didn't like the entirety of the game that Chucky was out there, but it seemed like they had a bit of a reality check when Chucky went out and they knew they weren't coming back. He wasn't coming back in. the way that we kind of locked in defensively, Javon Hadley and Terrence Edwards from that point on. What'd you think of that?
Sorry, you caught me in a relight. My cigarette, I ranted so long in the first segment, my cigarette went out. That tells you something.
That's good. That's what we want.
So I had to do a relight, and that just caught me right at the beginning of the relight.
The defensive effort in the second half without Chucky, to me, was just impressive. It was all around impressive.
I mean, did you say impressive or
impressive against Boston College? I mean,
Boston College. At that point, Boston College. I mean, Boston College. I mean, it was, and losing Chucky, I thought you saw more. The example was in the Miami game, but I mean, again, the problem is that it's not as much Chucky, but you saw, how much we missed him. I mean, Miami's a team that you shouldn't be giving up 78 points to. I mean, they're not. I mean, Cleveland can put up some points, and he's going to shoot the ball at large numbers, but they're not normally a team that you should. Louisville should have not given up, let them shoot over 50% as well.
Yeah,
it's something that bothers me. I mean, even Tech only shot 47%. I mean, that's Louisville's thing, but you need Chucky back. I mean, against Miami, it's a good game. It was a perfect time in the schedule, which is something that hasn't been, something Louisville has not been able to say this year because early in the schedule, we had so many bad timing with our tough games and where we were that, it was the perfect timing. You got to be at home. It's only a game in this week, and then you don't have to play again until we don't play the Wednesday, I guess. To give him some time off, you probably weren't going to need him. It was nice for me because I got to pound Terrence Edwards' player prop stats in the game and walked away good. I got him like a 5-1 on going across the board with his points, rebounds, and assists. So that was a good thing. But it's.
Were you worried? Were you worried when he didn't suit out?
I was looking at this stat earlier, and here's what worries me going forward. It's not just the games on the schedule, but it's just that Louisville. We talked about. PK's mentioned this in the post game, and we've talked, and we've brought it up in some ways that Chucky going down, you go to Edwards. Now, if Edwards goes down, where do you go? I mean, Aiden McCool. I mean, and he said it in PK in his press conference that we give the ball in rain and we pray, and that's about what we would probably have to do. I mean, Louisville right now, our big four. I mean, is playing 31 plus minutes a game. I mean, that's a lot of minutes. There's not one other team. You're hard pressed to find another team, probably in the top 25. I think Clemson's big four. I think they play 3 guys at 30 minutes plus, but most of your teams, 1-2 at the most, are playing more than 30 minutes a game. We've got our 4 main guys, then be Hadley, Rain Smith, Edwards, and Hepburn, all are doing it. And for Chucky, it's not really shouldn't be a worry. But for me, when I see it, I think, and I look at it and I look into the numbers, and Rain Smith is where it worries me. And especially for a guy that's a jump shooter. And you look at the last 3 games, I mean, his jump, I know he had the 20-something points against Miami and he hit 6 threes. He also took 16 attempts. His last 3 games, the shot is, I wouldn't say it's been bad. And I'm not telling him to stop shooting. But I do worry about, the Georgia Tech game in particular, where they did a great job of kind of singling him out and getting, the ball and making him have to guard the penetrator and keeping James Scott away from the rim, which allowed Georgia Tech to do what they did offensively against us. And it made him work so much that when he did get the shots off, they not only were they not just the great looks, but the shot looked flat because you're running around that court. I know, he's younger than both of us still, but that's a lot of wear and tear on those legs, run up and down when you're shooting jump shots nonstop and shooting as much as he is. And we're talking about a guy where Hepburn's, used to playing 30 minutes a game. Edwards averaged over 30 minutes a game last year. Hadley averaged over 30 minutes a game last year. Ray Smith has never played more than 30 minutes a game through a full season in his career at this point. In fact, last year he only played 4 games where he played 30 or more minutes in a game. This season, he hasn't played less than 30, but twice since we got back from Bahamas. And in those games, and one of those was 39. It was 29 minutes against Clemson. The other was 27 against North Carolina. So, I mean, I'm not saying it worries me though when we get into maybe March, the wear and tear of those minutes. I'd love to be able to find a way, and I don't know where. But the thing is I don't have the answer. This is like the nil question. Like, pay Jay Bills, pay the kids. Well, how do you do it? Well, I don't know. Just pay them. I'll give them minutes to rest. Where we do it, I don't know. If I had the answer, you know what? I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you in my shorts and a sweatshirt on, getting ready to watch the Eagles play Super Bowl. I'd be hanging out probably at the UofL facilities because I'm coaching the basketball team.
Yeah, I don't know where you go either. It's nice to have Noah back. I mean, you see Frank getting minutes and playing earlier in games than we ever thought he probably would come a month ago. And it's just going to be tough. It's one of those things that a lot of these guys are going to be comfortable. They're going to be comfortable with each other when they're out there. They're going to know of each other's tendencies, all that kind of stuff is great. But at the same time, how long can everybody withstand playing heavy minutes every night until further notice?
The big thing will be if we can get the double bye, especially coming up in the ACC tournament. I think we need to win 5.
We need it.
That's the magic number right now. Sorry, Doug Gottlieb, 3 is not the magic number. For us, it's 5. At least,
yeah.
And that would be huge for us to get some rest, for this team. And you know what? The better seed you can get, the better chance you have of not having to play your guys a full game in that first round. No disrespect to, maybe a 13 seed or a 12 seed, but
yeah,
you hope so. I mean, in this case,
yeah. No, you're totally right, Trevor.
Are you worried?
Move on, I mean. Yeah, I was worried about the Miami game. I didn't think it was going to be a comfortable victory, and I think we had some moments.
18 was way too many points. That's
way too many. Way too many. I was nervous when I see Chucky wasn't even suited, and I was like, if things go awry, we don't even have him. Like he's not even in a good enough shape to go out there and provide something if we need him. That worried me. And then we had some moments defensively where you could tell we needed him out there, and you could tell, after the guys got tired, I think just a lot of moments where Miami was still doing things to stay somewhat close. That it just came from not having your head defensive honcho, came from not getting as many good shots on offense as you really would have wanted to, and that also comes from not having your point guard. I just worry about how close games can be when Chucky's the kind of guy that transition plays coming out of timeouts. After we get scored on, just the next set down, the importance of making sure that we get into the correct set and it operates the right way, and then having his ability as a scorer and passer, he takes you to that next level when you go on runs and you push away from teams and you carry that gap because you have him turning defense into offense for you, sometimes by himself even. And not having that going forward in this stretch of the ACC when a lot of teams are finding their stride. Yeah, I'm not saying they're good teams. NC State has its moments where they're moving the ball to a degree where even Duke couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop them from getting open shots. They weren't making these shots because they suck. But, Notre Dame, they are a team that plays hard and is getting coached well and is not going to quit at any point of any game at any point of the season. Florida State, we've got them again. I don't know how big of an opponent that's going to be really. I don't know how, Florida State they haven't been on the trajectory I'm really talking about, but Virginia Tech, they've gotten a couple big wins. It's that point in the season where all these teams are finding that point of now within their offensive defense of what works and what doesn't. And they're kind of somewhat not figuring it out, but what is best for them, they're usually all doing it by now.
With NC State, I mean, you're right. NC State's a team. I mean, they're not a tournament team, and they have a losing record. But you look at this is a team that, with the exception of the Wake Forest game, they've not lost, I think, a game by more than 11 points. Yeah, I know they lost by 11 points. But the point is that they stay in games, and they're not going to just go out and just get completely curb stomped and allow them to get curb stomped. Now that can also be, a precursor of, how the ACC is, that they're not getting blown out by a team. We do go and beat them by 10 as well. You mentioned they hung with them. What worries me is still it worried me early in the season, and we kind of maybe I got miraged by a little bit. But again, Louisville having struggled with team of size, Miami's size struggle. They had problems with Miami's big men in this game. So I know Scott didn't play a lot. Troy, I love the energy. I mean, I don't care how much you could pay me, you would never be able to convince that man he's not 6'11". I mean, he is Joe Pesci from Goodfellas. I mean, that is what he is. He's like the kind of guy. He's like the little guy that did the golf course in Family Guy. Like you want to fight about a big whoop? Let's go. Like he's six. He's got the Napoleon complex to 100,000 degree, and I love it. And he's out there. There was a play against SMU when we blew him out. There's 7'1" turkey guy, and he's guarding him like he could care less. He's 6'5" guarding a 7-foot guy, and he has no idea that he shouldn't be doing it. And now that said, he still is 6'5" and still comes across things. And Georgia Tech was an issue with that, where they kept us off the offensive glass, and that was one of the big reasons why we lost that game. And you saw it in Miami. Miami, did a good job of their bigs taking advantage of the fact, especially when Scott went out, that Waterman is, an offensive addition only to the team. No offense to Seth. And, and Bruce is just not a very good defensive player right now. I mean, he's just not very good defensive at the big guy position. And that's kind of where we're at. Look, thankfully for us, though, that's not a situation, with the exception of running into Cooper Flag, that you're going to have that many problems with a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Most teams are going to go small with you. They go with against you.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time going forward on UofL when it's the big game day, and we've got to do some talks about that for sure too. But going forward in these next 4 games, I'd say next 5 games. I mean, we've only got 8 left or 7 left. The next 4, they're critical. I think these next 4 are critical because the next 3, NC State and Notre Dame, those are just 2 teams that play well. They have moments where they can be playing extremely well. I don't think they're top to bottom. They're good enough, but they have moments that can play well, and we're going to be shorthanded. Florida State, they're not that good. They're really not. We've got them at home. I'm not too worried about them.
They match up with this little tough. I mean, we beat them by 20 last time, but I still don't want to overlook. I mean, listen, you go in there thinking you're just going to walk all over them, they're going to beat you.
Yeah.
You can't do that. I mean, we can, but you can, if you even sleepwalk through them, kind of like you did with Miami a little bit. Not that we sleepwalked completely against Miami, but a little bit we did. That shouldn't be a problem, especially at home.
Yeah, you're right. Trevor, are you worried about the next 3 out of 4 games on the road, with potentially uncertain on how long Chucky will be out?
No, I think you know what? If this was Duke or North Carolina or Clemson, I think he plays. He would have played probably. But again, it's in no disrespect to Miami, but fuck them. It is Miami, and it's you had. I think it's a game where you could roll the dice and gamble, take a chance on being able to beat them. As long as you're hoping Edwards doesn't get in foul trouble or something happens to him, because like you said, that was the biggest concern as much as anything was that, what were you going to do if he gets in trouble? Because you have literally no third string point guard now with Johnson being out. Yeah. But he stepped up. He played well. I said it on this thing last time over here. He was due a game to really kind of blow up. And his last 3 games, since I kind of said that, I know we lost one of them, but he's played well. And I think a lot of it's to do with the fact he's just been blessed just gunning up the threes. I mean, the last couple of games, he's taking only 3-4 threes a game, and they've been good, mostly good choices, and he's been knocking them down. The rest of the time, he's been doing what he does best. That's get in the lane and take floaters, man.
Yeah, you're right. We need him.
Got some proper tonight.
What'd you say? Yeah, I want to get into that. I've already got a couple bets placed here. I wanted to talk to you about that. But before we do that, I want to take a moment to say we've got 7 viewers in here. We had 8. I don't know how accurate that number is. Like, comment, so down below. Subscribe if you haven't. But also, if you have any questions for us, we've never had this many viewers to ask this to. We get a lot of after we've posted type of listeners. Shout out to Phil in the comments, though. He's an active every live show listener. So we don't. It doesn't matter to us when you listen, but if you do listen, we appreciate you. But having this many live listeners, we'd love to get some questions in. If you guys have any, was obviously we were still finding our consistency in the best. I'm looking to find some consistency and stuff. But Trevor, I do have some prop bets. The big game starts in 21 minutes here, which really means
I love it, dude.
30 minutes.
I think it's Southern. The band is on I'm guessing only Southern because they have an S on their chest that's on mute. But the band, I mean, I'm sure they're putting on a great show from what I can see. But they got the band members are going into the stands like it's WWE. I love it. They got a trumpet player up in the stands just rocking along. This is great. I love that.
Yeah. Way
to change it up a little bit. I don't know what the hell's going on. But there's trumpet players and some dude that looks like he plays pop country. I don't know.
I don't want to keep people from it too long. But Trevor,
you missing much. Trust me. I've
got a couple bets I like. Listen, Patrick. Now you might not like my bets so much, but Patrick Mahomes, longest rush, 12.5 yards. Jalen Hurts, longest rush, 12.5 yards. I love them both. I love both of them. I truly love both of them to throw an interception as well. Love it. I love both of them to throw an interception. I love both of them to carry over on that longest rush. Here's what I'll say about the longest rush, though. Obviously, it's common sense to a degree, but this is the biggest game of your year. We know it's coming from Jalen Hurts. With Mahomes, he is not throwing the ball away if he doesn't have to. He's going to go get 3 yards before he throws the ball away. You know, obviously, if it's coming down to a sack, he's going to not take the sack, but he's going to do whatever he can on broken plays to extend the play, whether that means doing some hanky-janky, hokey-pokey, tokey-tokey, skip rattly-do to keep a play alive and then find Travis Kelsey for 40 yards, he'll do that. But what I mean is he'll stay in the pocket as long as he can, then he'll get out and he'll go get 4 or 5 yards every single time in this kind of game. And at the same time, when this happens, he's going to break away in one of those options. Well, one of those scrambles, he's going to break away for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I think 20 plus yards. Both of them will have 20 plus yard rushes, if you ask me. I like both of them.
By the way, because mainly one, Hurts had 70 yards last time these two met, and I think that's I do like the Hurts. The Hurts one actually scares me a little more than Mahomes because I like Mahomes on the fact that I also one of my prop bets is I took Mahomes on the over rushing yards at 30. I think it was 30.
I took him 40 plus.
I took it at 30 and a half. So I do like Mahomes breaking one. The Eagles have been, especially if you're going to Pancho doesn't blitz as much as Spagnolia does. Spagnolia is straight from the Jim Johnson coaching tree. And anybody who knows me knows, and not to be confused with the Dallas Cowboy, Jimmy Johnson, but Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, was just I idolized the man. He was the defensive coordinator for 9 years up until literally the day he died. And then Sean McDermott took over. Yeah, that's the so I don't know if he'll blitz, but because the pressure they have to put with the linebackers and a lot of young linebackers with this Eagles team, I think the yardage from Mahomes rushing is a good one, which is also why I'll give you one I really like, and this is an anytime touchdown, and I took him as an anytime touchdown, parlayed it with his over 2.5 receptions, and that's Noah Gray for the Kansas City Chiefs. I know everybody wants to talk Travis Kelsey. I'm not saying he's going to have a huge game. Eagles struggle against tight ends, and not just tight ends, but usually secondary tight ends more than anything. And I think you're going to see a lot more focus because of the focus on Kelsey. Noah Gray's been kind of quiet this year. He's had a couple of good games. I like him. Plus, I like
he'll be good in the playoffs.
I like Dallas Goedert over the 4.5 receptions. Plus, I wouldn't take him on an anytime touchdown, but I'll do other receptions plus the over 50 yards on Dallas Goedert. Kansas City's putrid against tight ends. I think they're the worst against tight ends this year, maybe, at least in the top 3 or 4 worst.
Yeah,
all season fantasy wise. So
I like. There's another prop that I was seeing last night that I saw that I was like, that's too short. That's too short, and it was a receiving reception from the running backs, Trevor Kelsey. The longest reception for Kareem Hunt is 5.5 yards. What do you think of that?
I like it. If Kareem Hunt's on the field, which I expect him to be more on the field,
he's gonna get like a 7-8 yard dump down. You know he is.
I like Kareem Hunt. I've been a kind of fan of his since he was playing at Toledo. It's funny the only time the last time the Chiefs lost the AFC title game in 19, they probably don't lose if they don't have to cut Kareem Hunt for the little leg shift he did in the hotel lobby.
Yeah,
ladies with the groupies on him. They have Kareem Hunt in that game. I feel to this day they might be in that 19 Super Bowl as well over the Patriots, but that's the past. With the way the Eagles put pressure on you, it's a good thing to look at to think that dump off passes is not out of the question in terms of over under receptions for Kareem Hunt, and you get enough of those, getting 5 or 6 yards, not a hard thing to think about.
Yeah, there's a lot of lines here that I just think that Travis Kelsey's reception 6.5.
I take the under on that. I don't think he has a big game.
You don't think he has 7 catches?
No, I don't. He might catch a touchdown. He might have.
Do you think Jalen Hurts throws a touchdown?
Yes.
There's no telling. I think it's to Goddard. I think he throws one.
I think it'll be one of the receivers. God knows I can't tell you. If I could tell you who, I'd be better fantasy football. But I do think it'll be – I lean toward J.J. Brown, but Devontae's had some hamstring issues all week. I know it's supposedly slowed him down. He's going to play, but I like. I think AJ Brown catches at least one touchdown.
Who's the first touchdown? What are the first touchdown props here?
If the Eagles get the ball,
first touchdown
plus right now, if the Eagles get the ball first, and they've done a good job, they've not done a good job by scoring on opening drives this year. But if it happens to be an Eagle, I would say AJ Brown's your first Eagle to score a touchdown. If it's a Chief, I say Kareem Hunt.
I like that. I'm so sorry that I'm yawning so much. I'm terribly, terribly tired. I stayed up very late last night.
I just completely assumed I was boring you to death.
No, I stayed up. I only had a few hours of sleep, so I'm sorry about that.
You won't be the first male or female to yawn.
And I've had I've had better sleep recently, so sleeping like unorthodoxly small amount like I did last night is just not tears me up this time of day. But
I want to go to a couple things. I want one from my man, my easy lover, Phil over here, Phil Bailey. I don't know what glazing means. Is that jizz in the pants? Is that what that means?
Glazing is like no, that's what
I picture the Van Wilder thing, what they do to the dog, the donuts. You know, that being glazing.
Glazing is when somebody is overly talkative or overly expressive about somebody else or something else is what the correct definition is. So like somebody overly loves an athlete and is always saying things or making points that aren't even realistic points to make about he's so great because every time he talks to the fans, he's nice to the fans and he does great interviews and all the coaches say that he's such a good player and such a good locker room presence. That's glazing. You're saying reasons you like him that are personal reasons, right? I started explaining this on the show, on Mike's show. I used the phrase once, and then I explained to Mike what it meant. And then everybody on the text line and all the listeners took glazing as like a sexual meaning and more related to what's happening to donuts or Krispy Kreme.
The way you're describing it, it comes off like Stephen A. Smith talking about LeBron James and something.
Exactly. Or
it's
Nick Wright talking about LeBron James or something like that. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, I mean that's man crushing. That can be I can see that being glazing in your pants over someone.
Yeah, that's what it means. But people took it like glazing is like you're I guess it does technically have a sexual connotation, but it means more. It's more of like a glaze. What you're doing to a glazed donut, you're doing to the idea of that person.
Well, I learned that's how I learned sex ed was what I did to a glazed donut.
All right, Trevor, talk to me about the over/under here. 48.5. You going over or under?
4.5 on
48. 48.5.
Oh, 48.5. Take the over. I'll take the over. This game's gonna be in the 30s. Take the over. I like the over in this one big time.
Both teams in the 30s.
Real quick, I'll get two things I want to get from you before I say one last thing. Who do you like? Give me a point. Give me a pick. Give me Chiefs, Eagles. Give me a final score.
I like the Chiefs here. I think the football guys are going to give this team a third in a row.
I am going Eagles 38-34. Winning.
I like that score. I think both teams scored 32 plus.
Jalen Carter with a strip sack, Brandon Graham style to win.
See, I love the Eagles defense to score a touchdown.
Bradley Cooper just is introducing us to be coming out, so we have to get this closing to an end. Phil, I'm sorry you're an Eagles fan. I mean a Cowboys fan, but
Yeah, we got to get out of here, Trev. We got to get this game started. We got to get everybody's going to get off of here, and they're going to get into their Super Bowl parties and whatnot. So
I want to give you just like 2 minutes. Luka Doncic, Eagle. I mean,
fuck, you're right. I forgot about that.
Give me 2 minutes before I tell Phil that yes, we can play in Lexington. If somebody told you that we couldn't, they're lying to you. Go, Luka.
So it's not coercion. It's not collusion. It's not anything like that with the league, okay?
Is this replay for the Chris Paul 2011 disaster or whatever it was?
As much as you would think there'd be something like that happening here, there is not. This is all money and business related on top of Mark Cuban fucked up getting rid of 73% of the Mavericks ownership. Him only having 27% is the first issue here because he gave it to some owners who don't give a fuck about basketball. They give a fuck about businesses. All right. That's the first issue here. That led to the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to take this deep. This is a deep-rooted trade, okay? The Dallas Mavericks wanted to build a new arena and a new gambling casino attached to the new Dallas Mavericks arena. And they wanted to do this. Dallas did not approve the gambling license for the casino, and they rejected their plan. So the Mavericks owners threatened to take the team away from Dallas, in which the NBA said, no, you're not doing that. The team's too popular. The team's too valuable, and you have an international star. The Dallas ownership said, watch this. Got rid of Luka. If you would have paid Luka, if you would have paid Luka what he would have been due for on his Supermax, and I don't know how to explain what I'm about to say, they would have went over the second apron of tax that you're allowed to be on your payroll. So they would have had to pay extra tax dollars to what is the NBA, I guess, for being over a certain payroll just for having Luka's $89 million a year plus the other guys that they would have had on the team. They would not have been able to have a second star making good money anywhere near what a second star normally is making in the NBA and been able to afford Luka and been anywhere near under that second apron. So you made your team be in the positive going forward every year in terms of what you're spending on your roster. And you're not going to have to worry about Luka's Supermax. That is almost like 90% of the reason for this deal. The other 10% is Luka currently having not shown he treats his body with the care and attitude that someone who makes the amount of money he was about to make should be treating his body. I understand that. I don't give a fuck what you think about that. He's 25 years old and he's already a Hall of Famer. If he keeps doing everything, if he does what he did last year, every single year, if he doesn't get any better and does what we've already seen him do for the rest of his career, he's a Hall of Famer. As long as he wins one title or two. Even if he does exactly what he's done so far, if he does the best season he's had, if he has that season every year, it doesn't get any better statistically than what we've already seen, he'll be a Hall of Famer. He's a 25-year-old Hall of Famer. You don't trade him under any circumstance. I don't care. I saw a video today. I don't care if he was in the back smoking crack. I don't care if he was in the back shooting up heroin. This is coming from the Lakers fan who now has him. You don't trade a 25-year-old Luka Doncic. You don't do it, and unless you have financial reasons that you feel are more important than what Luka brought to you. And the owners thought that. There's no way the coach, no way the president, Nico Harrison, even thought that. The president of basketball operations. I think this came from ownership. I think the owners told them, get rid of Luka. We don't want to pay him, and it's as simple as that.
I will say this real quick. Damn, I didn't expect that, but anyway, yeah. In terms of trading, it was stupid. It was the R word, not racist, but the other one. Something about Mary. Where's my baseball? And
very much so.
And to do it and the thing was just to receive no disrespect to Anthony Davis isn't Louisville hate, but Anthony Davis is 32 going.
31, about to be 32.
31.
I don't care if he's all NBA. He just got hurt again. He just got hurt yesterday. He just got hurt yesterday, non-contact injury. He's going to be the same old. He's going to be a 50 to 55 games a year kind of guy because he sits out too damn much. If he even makes it 50 games,
he honestly has not really been the same since he got to LA.
You could have gotten any young star you wanted for Luka.
I understand
any young star you wanted. Other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You don't give up Shai and you don't give up Jokic. Jokic isn't young. Jokic is 28. You could have gotten anybody else in the league, Trevor. Anybody else in the league other than Steph. You probably wouldn't have gotten Steph just because that wouldn't have made sense. You wouldn't have. Steph's even older. So you wouldn't have gone after Steph. It's the only player that's better than there are trades you could have made that would make sense, but it should make sense. You could have got the Azar Thompson kid. You could have got the Azar Thompson kid from Houston.
It is going to go down in history.
Worst sports trade.
Ranked right up with the Bucks sending Kareem to the Lakers.
I don't remember what they gave up for that, but I've always known it was always one of the worst.
It doesn't matter. unless Jesus Christ himself was involved in the trade, they didn't get enough.
Yeah.
Because Kareem was the Jesus.
And it's the same thing offensively. It's the same thing with Luka right now. So, Trevor, that's going to wrap us up. Game time here for the big game in 5 minutes. We've gotten our picks out. We've gotten our recent Louisville takes out. We'll be on here, and after a couple, one more Louisville game or so, we'll get back on here and we'll react to the Super Bowl as well.
NBA with you a little bit. I mean, once we get you down off the Adderall.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate you guys coming on here and spending some time with us, Trevor. If there's anything else you want to get out there, that's gonna wrap us up, I believe.
Oh yeah, just simply. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fly, score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. That's 4. Hit them low, hit them high. I am. And watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Spell it for me. Eagles, Eagles.
All right. Go Eagles. I hope they win. My pick is the Chiefs, but I am rooting for the Eagles, obviously. I'm not rooting for the Chiefs. I just think I would not be mad at all to see greatness happen. I think it'd be cool. Either way, I'd love to see Saquon get him one and the Eagles get their redemption from 2023. So that's going to wrap us up. Trevor, I'll see you soon, my good sir. Listeners, thank you so much for coming on. Like, comment, and subscribe.